Hi, I'm Lynn. Welcome back to my kitchen. I'm cooking again for the Cumberland Library, and today I am diving into soup season. It is fall, it is chilly out, and I'm kind of happy about that because I was getting a little bit tired of sweating all the time. But here we are, soup season, and I'm making butternut squash soup, which is great for the upcoming holidays. It's a good appetizer for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, or just an easy weeknight dinner with some crusty bread or grilled cheese or something like that. It's a nice, warming, comforting meal, and it's super easy. So it takes a little bit of time in the beginning to roast the vegetables, since I like them roasted rather than just boiling the squash. You get more flavor when you roast them for a while and they get all caramelized. That adds flavor to it. So I'm gonna do that. Right, let me tell you what you need. Obviously a cookie sheet, which I sprayed and now I have it on my hands. A pan for after we're gonna add some chicken broth and use this bad boy on it. This is an immersion blender. If you don't have one, you can put it in a blender. You just want to be careful anytime you're transferring hot liquid into a blender. Just be very careful, and while you're blending it, just be very careful. You could probably use a food processor too, but I've never tried that. But anyway, so you're going to need, obviously, butternut squash. I don't think one's going to be enough, so I got two, and two is probably going to be too many, but whatever. I have an onion. I'm going to use 4 cloves of garlic. You can tone that down if you don't like as much. You can ramp it up if you want, but you don't want the garlic to be the overwhelming flavor. You don't want it to be garlic soup. And salt and pepper and chicken broth. I'm using avocado oil. You could use olive oil or any oil really. Okay, what am I saying? Okay. So I'm going to get the stuff on here to get roasting. It's going to take about 40 to 45 minutes. So obviously I'll pause during that time, and you don't want to stare at my kitchen for 40 minutes. And yeah, and then another thing I wanted to say, which I'll probably repeat at the end, is you can top it with all kinds of things. I'm going to top mine with little diced apples and a little bit of croutons. You can top it with bacon, which would be super yummy. Really anything you can think of as a topping for soup. Just some herbs, maybe a little bit of fried sage. Sage goes really good with the Thanksgiving flavors. Okay, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to get that going, and then I will pause, which you won't notice because it'll go just like that. Dump this. Well, that's not pretty. Butternut squash can be really hard to cut up, the whole one. It can be extremely difficult if you don't have a sharp knife, and not good. So you want to, you can cheat and do this. Sometimes they have those halves, I guess it is, and those are a little bit easier to cut up. But a whole butternut squash, kind of a pain to deal with. So I'm going to do, what am I going to do with the rest of it? But anyway, I'm going to do most of this, and then I'm going to do most of this onion, probably all of the onion. I'm just going to cut it into wedges. Oh my goodness. That didn't land on my foot. That's a good thing. Stuff happens. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah. All of this stuff that's going on here, including the onion, is going to roast and get all caramelized, and color is flavor. So that is what you want to do. You can get cute and serve it in a pumpkin. That would be festive. So I'm just going to cut it into wedges. Try not to hack my foot off with a knife. I'm just going to scatter that around, kind of separate it. If the chunks are too big, then they won't necessarily roast evenly, and you'll get kind of that raw onion thing going. put it up a bit. And I'm gonna probably use most of this onion. Just kind of eyeball it however much you want. If you don't like any of that, if you don't like garlic, don't put it. Now, I've never tried this, but you probably could throw some diced apple in here and have the apple be part of the soup. I don't know how that would be. Probably be good. It would add a little bit of sweetness to it. And then we're just going to do 4 cloves. Not giant cloves, like this one's really big, but just sort of my poor cat's looking for some food. So I got mostly big ones here. Maybe I'll do 3. Again, to your own taste, and like I said, if they're gigantic, maybe just do 2. But you know, an average clove of garlic, 3 or 4 should be plenty. You want to taste it, but you don't want it to be overpowering. So I'm not gonna cut this up too small because I don't want it to burn and I don't want it to disappear. Just get the skin off. These things are not always the easiest. They're sticky. Smash it and peel. Okay. Get out of here. I always cut that little end off. Some people don't, but I don't know, something about it. Just kind of big slices, if you will. Kind of spread that around. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, that doesn't look like enough. So I'm gonna do another one. I am gonna do 4. One more. That off. I'll just give it a little rough chop. Toss that on there. So sticky. Trip over my wastebasket. That's fun. Okay. Now, I'm gonna not be able to get this. There we go. All right. I'm gonna some avocado oil all over it, and then I'm gonna salt and pepper and toss everything together so everything gets coated nice and evenly. A nice shower of salt and pepper, not too much. Sage would be really good in here. Okay, I'm gonna give it a toss, and I'm gonna drop some on the stove, of course. Why not? Come back here. Come back here. I'm not done with you. Just want to make sure everything's got some salt, some pepper, some oil. And then spread it back out, and you want to try to make sure everything is touching the bottom so you get that color that comes from it touching the pan. If you crowd the pan too much, you know, pile it up, then it's just going to steam. It's not going to roast. It's not going to have that caramelization. But that's a good, that looks pretty good. I'm going to just do an extra little toss because some of it looks a little dry. And that is going in a 425 degree oven for 40 minutes. I'm going to check it around 35. My oven runs a little bit hot, which is, I know it's supposed to, but hotter than what the temperature says. So things tend to cook a little faster. So I always check it a little bit ahead, and you might want to do the same. So that's going in the oven. I'm going to pause while that's happening, and then I will be right back. I'm back. I took this out of the oven at about 40 minutes, and everything is nice and tender. You want to make sure that all your pieces of butternut squash are nice and tender, because when you use the immersion blender, you don't want to be hitting a hard, uncooked butternut squash cube. And all the onions are got some color on them, and I can smell the garlic, so I think we're good to go. I kind of tossed it around just to make sure everything was cooked, and we're looking good. So, next thing we're going to do is get that in there without getting it everywhere. What do you think the odds are of that? Probably not very good, but we're going to try. Let's shut that off. We're all done with the oven. This part is the easiest part and the quickest part, so it'll be done in no time. Alright, here we go. This pan is heavy. Get that in there. Smells really good. I can really smell the garlic. See what I'm doing? Hopefully. Probably would be good if I paid attention to whether or not you can see me. Well, not me, but the food at least. Alright, that's in there. And I need 2 cups of chicken broth. I think I already have one open, so I'm going to not open another one because they only keep so long in the fridge. And I lied about using heavy cream because I don't have any, which I just went to the store, but you know how that goes. So there are lots of things you can substitute for the heavy cream. You can use milk, half and half. Stop it. It's going to keep doing that. Sour cream, which I'm going to use. You can use Greek yogurt, creme fraiche, almond milk, but make sure it's not vanilla. Make sure it's just, just almond milk. So I'm going to put 2 cups of chicken broth because you got to have some liquid because it is soup. And I'm going to get that all incorporated with my immersion blender, and then I'm going to add the sour cream. Can't think. Actually, I had to put these safety knobs on my stove because the knobs turn, they turn so easily that if I just lean over a little bit, the thing turns on, and then, it's not good. Especially if you don't notice. Okay, I'm going to plug this in way over here. And I diced up some apple, and I've got a little bit of croutons. I don't have a lot of croutons left, but that's okay. And just make some room here because this, I don't have a lot of outlets in this house. So let's sneak that over there, and I think we'll be in good shape. I can move it over when I'm ready to actually do it. Let's get this guy out of the way. And you know what? We can move this over here. I'm going to be able to see it better. My computer's telling me something. Leave me alone. Okay, so we'll do it over here. I'm probably going to turn the wrong burner on. Oh, I did. I've only been living here 10 years. No idea which knob turns on which burner. Put that back down there. Pretty bad when you have to childproof your house and you don't have any kids here. So, just going to let that get warm. It's not going to take much because the vegetables were already very warm. You can see all that nice color. Hopefully you can see the caramelization. You can, if you want, halfway through the roasting of the butternut squash and the other veggies, is toss them like halfway through just to, get them to, because they mostly brown on the side that's touching the pan, so if you want them to get brown on all sides or both sides, you can do that. Now again, if you don't have an immersion blender, you can put it in a regular blender, but just be very careful because getting this into a blender, not the easiest thing in the world. And we're already hot, so let's get blending. It's like one of the easiest things in the world to use. Watch me mess it up. I'm just gonna if you're not careful, it will squirt at you. That's what you're doing. Just getting everything mixed together slowly. trying not to wear it and make a mess. I don't use that this much, but it is a good tool to have, for sure. You know what, mashed potatoes, so much easier. Almost there. You want to make sure you don't have any lumps. It's also great for making baby food. Looking nice and thick and yummy. Now, depending on how thick you want it, you can add more chicken broth, or you can, well, you can't add anything to make it thicker, but if you want to thin it out, yeah. And now to make it creamy, and I don't really want it boiling at this point, I'm going to add my sour cream. So whatever you're adding, it's about a cup. And this is going to give it a little bit of a tang. This is a cup, right? Yes. And this is going to cool it right down. I'm not going to add it all at once. I'm going to add it and then taste it. And then I'm going to check it for salt and pepper. That's looking nice and creamy. Let's use this. And yummy. So I don't think I'm going to add the whole thing, but I'm going to taste it first. It seems to be all mixed in really well. All right, I'm going to give it a little seasoning taste. Try not to burn my mouth. Oh my God, that's good. Yeah, I am not going to add any more sour cream. I don't need to. I'm going to turn this down, simmer it a little bit. It's nice and hot already because the vegetables were already hot. So I'm going to get myself a little bowl of it and I'm going to eat it in front of you. Sorry. Okay. It is really delicious. It's not too garlicky. The garlic was smelling really, really pungent while it was cooking, and I was like, maybe I added too much garlic, but no. It is absolutely delicious. I'm just going to get myself a little bowl. And I might just pop a little sour cream on top and kind of swirl that around. And a little bit of croutons for some crunch. I love croutons. I eat them right out of the bag, which is why I don't have that many. It's kind of a little bit of a sickness with me at this point. And a little bit of apple. Like I said, bacon would be super yummy on this. We put a little bit of, need a little color. I'm going to put a little bit of parsley for some color. And we're going to get, so the nice thing too about putting a little dollop of the sour cream on top is, or if you have creme fraiche, is it kind of cools it down for you, so you don't have to burn your mouth on camera. That is so, so good. And the crunch of the croutons. Get some croutons that have some flavoring to them. These are, I don't know what they are, but they're garlic and something. They're super yummy, and they're like bigger. Oh, I got a little onion. And the apple adds like that little pop of sweetness. It's so good. This would be so good as an appetizer for Thanksgiving. Or just a weeknight dinner. I mean, there's going to be a ton left over. Make 2 nights, 2 nights in a row you can have it. And like some crusty bread, toasted bread, garlic bread. There's a lot of garlic going on. That is super yummy. So easy. So easy. Okay. Alright. Don't be a mess. That is roasted butternut squash soup. And I would imagine you could use pumpkin too. Or you could mix your your squashes. You could do acorn squash with the butternut squash, so get a little bit of different flavors going in there. I gotta turn this off, and I'm gonna eat some more. And I hope you come back in November because I am making an apple pie, good old-fashioned apple pie. And who knows what December will bring, but I will keep making videos if you keep watching. So come back and see me again, and I'll see you soon.